Hey, what's going on guys? Nick from Competent Video here, and today I have somewhat of a convention-related vlog for you guys today. I was originally going to plan to release my next set of vlogs this week, however, due to the length that they are taking to edit, I decided to make this video now, and then that way you have something to hold you over for next week. So I've done quite a few photo shoots over the course of 2 conventions. I've done about 8 or 9 of them over the course of Anime Milwaukee and Anime Midwest, and I plan to do more at GeekCon if I have the time to. So I've done quite a few in a short period of time, and I've noticed some things that both cosplayers and photographers tend to forget, mostly because the cosplayers that I'm doing photo shoots for, and then the things that I tend to forget, as well as I see other photographers don't really carry around. So I'm going to go over the 5 things that cosplayers tend to forget for photo shoots, and then the 5 things that photographers tend to forget to bring to photo shoots. And this is something that I've seen sometimes in the cosplay community. Photo shoots are different than cosplay meetups. I know you do photo shoots at meetups, but what I'm referring to in this video is a photo shoot with one cosplayer, one photographer in a private location, or multiple cosplayers and one photographer in a private location. Meetups are a little bit different because you don't really get the same amount of quality of photos out of them most of the time, because you have a lot of photographers and a lot of cosplayers, so you don't really get the shots that you want. And this is more of a kind of like a, hey, I want you to do photography for me kind of thing. So I hope you guys do enjoy this list, and let's get right to it. So the first thing that a cosplayer should bring to a photo shoot is some sort of brush or some sort of comb. I've had plenty of cosplayers come without a comb, and I've noticed it when I'm editing the photos, and then it takes a really long time for me to get a lot of the loose strands of hair out of the photo because it really doesn't look that good. It's not as big of a deal when I'm recording a cosplay music video, because when you're shooting a video, it's less noticeable to see those loose strands of hair because you're moving the camera, the cosplayer's moving, and then the camera isn't really picking it up as well. But when you take a still photo, it's much more noticeable, and the picture is really high quality, so you tend to notice that a lot more. A couple of things that I recommend to prevent this from happening: spray your wig down with some hairspray. I know wigs tend to be a little bit more stringy than normal hair, so it is a little bit harder to kind of keep wigs down but still look natural. However, I've noticed that there are some hairsprays out there that work very well with wigs. I don't remember them on the top of my head. I have a couple cosplay friends that cosplay quite a bit, and I can just ask them, and if they find any, I'll put some names right here that you can buy. However, sometimes that really doesn't cut it, and sometimes your wig flies around after doing a lot of photos, and I'm going to be better at this too, because this is definitely a two-way street. Because I definitely need to point out to people that their hair is a little bit crazy, but also cosplayers also need to remember that their wig hair needs to be combed a little bit better. So just bringing that comb really helps. I would be more than willing to hold on to the comb for you. You don't have to worry about like putting it in a pocket or anything. I can hold on to it, and then I'll just like pull out of my back pocket, be like, here, comb your hair real quick, or do whatever you need to do. That's definitely kind of one of the biggest things for cosplayers, and that's why it's the first one. It's definitely been very hard for me to try to edit out the hair, and it's definitely not the cosplayer's fault. It's definitely equally my fault for not noticing it when I take the photo. The first thing I think a photographer should bring is a camera bag, especially because I'm going to be mentioning a lot of things that you should be bringing that would be a little bit hard to carry if you don't have anything to put it in. And you don't necessarily need to get a professional camera bag. Here's my camera bag. It is a Manfrotto camera bag. It flips out like this, and then you can just open it like that. It's very nice. This only actually cost me $60, which is pretty inexpensive for a camera bag. However, like I said, you don't need to invest in a very expensive camera bag. Just something to hold all of your accessories and other things that you need to bring to a photo shoot. But this one is great. It has tons of space. I can't really tilt it up, otherwise everything will fall out. But as you can see, it has plenty of space for everything. I highly recommend this bag if you are looking for a professional camera bag. It doesn't really have as much space as other ones. However, it is a very great place to start. But if you aren't looking to drop $60 on a bag, you can always just get a cheap backpack and just store your stuff in there. Just make sure it is safe and secure, and nothing is like shaking around and moving a lot, because you do have some fragile stuff in your camera bag. The next thing I think a cosplayer should try to bring if they can. If not, this one isn't really as big of a deal. However, if you do have it, it really helps, especially if you are in the summer weather where you are sweating a lot. And that being, either bring your foundation, your makeup, or anything to kind of blot your face with sweat, because I know when you're outside, especially in this summer's weather, this summer was extremely hot, it can be very easy to sweat, especially in the very big cosplays that people wear that have a lot of layers on them. I know I've been in cosplays that have been very, very hot and sweaty, so I do know how that is. If you do have anything that you can bring to either blot sweat or reapply foundation, or if your mascara starts running, or if your lipstick starts to come off because you're just sweating that profusely, try to bring that. Or if you can't bring that, just bring something to like blot your face with, just so that you can get that sweat off. I do recommend getting setting spray though, because that way even if you are sweating, then the sweat doesn't really destroy your makeup as much. I know if you sweat a lot, it still will come off. However, setting spray does help quite a bit. This is something that a lot of cosplayers do know. However, if you are a cosplayer that's starting out and you don't really know how to do the makeup process, one thing that I have picked up from my friends as well as myself, I actually did wear makeup when I did cosplay that 1 or 2 times that I needed it. We did use setting spray, and that definitely helped because I was very hot and sweaty, especially with my wig on, so it helps out quite a bit. However, just getting off that sweat also helps me, because then I don't have to worry about trying to get that off of your face when I'm trying to edit the photos later. The next thing a photographer should bring, and this is something that if you aren't bringing to photo shoots, what are you doing? This is spare batteries and SD cards. If you are not bringing these and you run out, you're basically, the photo shoot's done with. You gotta stop, because like, if you don't have any spare batteries or SD cards, you're kind of SOL, because you don't really have anything to put any of your pictures on or to turn your camera on. Just making sure both your batteries are charged, your SD cards are cleared. What I usually do when I'm at photo shoots, and I have a lot of them on top of recording video at cons, is as soon as I'm done with my photo shoots, if I don't have anything else going on immediately, I go to my hotel room, store everything on my external hard drive. I bring my laptop with me to conventions, and then that way I can clear off my SD card, and then I know for sure that it is cleared for either the next photo shoot or the videos that I'm recording. The next thing I recommend is kind of either bringing like a pair of scissors or like a needle and some thread, something to repair your cosplay if it ever rips, or if there's any loose strings or anything that you need to cut off, because I do know how frustrating it can be doing cosplay and then having that rip, or you need to cut something because it's starting to rip. I know how frustrating that can be, and it really does kind of suck if you have to cut your photo shoot short because you need to go repair your cosplay. So just kind of making sure that you have at least something with you to kind of make sure that you can do that, or even bringing bobby pins, because I can easily Photoshop out a bobby pin or any kind of like thin needles that you're pinning your cosplay together. However, it's a little bit harder for me to Photoshop kind of like this tear in like your skirt or in your blouse, something like that. If it's not meant to be there, it's a little bit easier for me to Photoshop out a needle this big than a hole this big. So if you can bring something like that, I do highly recommend it. I'm listing off a lot of things, obviously, that it'd be hard for a cosplayer to bring. However, if you are in something that is a little bit less bulky, just bring like a drawstring bag with you, because you can carry a lot of things in there. And then you can also use that for the rest of the convention if you buy anything in a merch room, or if you need to carry any water with you or any kind of snack. It's great for that. If you're in something a little bit bulkier, kind of like armor or something, I obviously don't expect you to bring anything like this, because it's a little bit harder for you to kind of carry anything around because you're in this big bulky thing that you can't really walk in. The next thing I think photographers should bring are any kind of camera accessories. I put this in one category because there's a lot of things. Some of the things that I have on here is lens hood, lens cap, filters, flashes, and extra lenses. Obviously, if you don't need any of these things, it's not necessary. However, if you do intend to use any of these things, make sure to bring them. I have a lens cap on my lens right now. Let me take it off. This is what a lens hood looks like if you have one on that comes with your lens. Obviously, if you aren't using the kit lens, any lens usually comes with these. I highly recommend using this, especially if you are in direct sunlight. So if the sunlight is coming straight down like this is what blocks it, as you can see, and it doesn't get in front of your lens and leaving those really weird lens flares, unless if you want those, of course. That's one of the example of things that I usually bring. This is on my new lens, my 17 to 50 millimeter f2.8. So this is a brand new lens that I bought a couple months ago. So like I said, not important if you don't have any of these things, but if you do intend to use any of them, like any extra lenses like I do, make sure to bring those, because it really sucks when you wanted to use a different lens, or if you have any filters that you need because of the really harsh sunlight. It really sucks that you can't use those if you forgot them. So that's why I recommended a camera bag, because you usually have all that stuff on you at all times anyway. And then especially something like a backpack like that really helps, because that way it's always on your back. I think backpacks are better. Some people like camera bags. It just depends on your preference. I like backpacks better because that I know it'll always be on me. The weight is on both your shoulders rather than one. The next thing a cosplayer should not forget, especially if you are bringing any, or if your cosplay requires these, is your props. Do not forget your props. I actually really encourage people to bring props if they have any. I know some cosplayers can be kind of hesitant to bring them because they don't want the photographer to not know what to do with them. However, it just gives me more options because I can use that prop with you. We can put it to the side and like have it in the shot, but not you necessarily interacting with it. There's a lot of things you can do with props, and I know a lot of characters have even just tiny things that they have that they are known for. So for example, I had a photo shoot with Yui from Angel Beats, and she brought a little microphone, and that actually helped out quite a bit because I was able to use that microphone in certain ways, whereas if she just brought herself, it's a little bit more difficult. And so just kind of think of anything that your character that you are cosplaying has anything with them, and just think of anything. If they're somebody at a school, have them bring a pencil and a notebook. If they're somebody that's a musician, bring an instrument, anything. I guarantee you, if you think hard enough, they will have something that they are known for having. So just think and bring that, and I know your photographer will be super happy because anything with props just generally, I think, looks better because you just have more options to work with. It makes the photo shoot go smoother, and you have a little bit more poses that you can work with. The next thing I think a photographer should bring is water for cosplayers and themselves. I think this is definitely something that the photographer should do because I think it's just a nice gesture, because especially if you are outside in the heat, it is always nice to have both people stay hydrated, especially because if it is super hot out, the cosplayer will probably be sweating more than you because they are wearing more layers. I wanted to put that in there because that's going to be something that I'm going to try to do in the future for my photo shoots, is just to kind of bring some sort of water or something so that the cosplayer can kind of just be comfortable and they don't have to worry about passing out from heat exhaustion. The last thing I think a cosplayer should bring with them, and this is something that is not really a physical thing, but bring a set of poses that you want to do at the photo shoot. I know I ask a lot of cosplayers, especially when I'm doing either cosplay music videos or I'm doing photo shoots, they don't really have any poses that they want done. I think that's the whole fun of doing a photo shoot, is you go and you want to have these poses done, and the photographer will tell you whether or not they will work in a photo. Don't worry about that. If they think it won't look good, they'll probably tell you. And then practice your poses in a mirror. I know some cosplayers actually do this, some don't. Practice your poses, learn about how posing works for modeling, and then try to relate that back to cosplay. I know some people don't really want to take cosplaying that seriously. However, if you're doing a photo shoot, you definitely want to have yourself look the best as you possibly can. So practicing your poses definitely helps. There are definitely a ton of videos about this, and practicing definitely makes me feel better because I don't mind directing people on how to pose. However, it can be kind of awkward to do that because it takes a long time, especially if they don't know how to pose properly. If they have the general pose, you don't necessarily know the difference if you don't research and practice the pose, right? But if you are in a more active pose, it tends to look better for photo shoots, and it definitely turns out to be a better photo. And then obviously the last thing that the photographer should bring is their knowledge. Research the characters you are doing photo shoots for. If a cosplayer tells you what character they are cosplaying, make sure to research that character, research their traits, research the anime they're in, research the other characters that they interact with, how they interact with those characters, how they act, how they walk, how they just do everything, because the more you know, the better the photos you'll be able to take, because like I said, a photo shoot is a two-way street. It is both the cosplayer's responsibility and the photographer's responsibility to make a good photo. If you rely too much on one or the other, you won't end up with a good photo whatsoever. So it is definitely good for both parties to do their research. And I think it's on the photographer to kind of come in with a lot more knowledge than the cosplayer can, if that's possible. I know sometimes that's literally impossible, because if you're cosplaying your absolute favorite character and you know everything about this character, you might know a little bit more about it than the photographer does. It's always just a nice gesture to come in knowing the source material, because that definitely makes the cosplayer feel more at ease. Definitely kind of bring your own research as well. As soon as the cosplayer knows what they want to do their photo shoot as, I'm researching it, I'm looking on Wikipedia, I'm looking up images, I'm looking up even other cosplayers and how they pose. I know this is sometimes not necessarily a good thing to do, but if the cosplayers are posing that way, then they're definitely doing something right, because they obviously did their research and they're posing in a specific way. So that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I hope you learned something, even if you're a photographer or a cosplayer. If you're neither and you don't care about either of these things and you learned something, that'd be awesome. So if you did really like this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, and if you have any other tips that photographers or cosplayers should have going into a photo shoot, make sure to leave them in the comments below. I always love to hear you guys' suggestions on these kinds of things. And if you like what I do here with my vlogs, my cosplay music videos, and my reviews, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because it definitely means a lot to me that you like the content that I'm putting out. And that is going to do it for this video. As always, I hope you did enjoy, and remember, I don't have a huge ego, I'm just pretty confident. See you guys.